Hi, everybody. We are talking with Chef Josie Smith Malave, who is running for mayor of Wilton Manors. Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on, Manny. Such a wonderful Saturday.
Yeah, thanks for being with us. You know, last time I saw you, actually, you were cooking at the Taste of the Island event in Wilton Manors.
I do remember that. Yep, I do remember that. And you're just you're a ball of fun. And you came and you helped me just continue, bringing the energy. And it was a great event for Wilton Manors. So yeah, I remember that night very, very distinctly.
I know, it seems like a long time ago, unfortunately. So obviously, you're pretty busy, Chef Josie. You are running your own business because you have your restaurant. You're contributing to a weekly talk show. So what made you decide to run for mayor of Wilton Manors?
This is a very easy question for me, and I think it's important that everyone understands the process that brought me here.
Okay.
Initially, my intention was to run for city commissioner. I was backing Justin Flippin's re-election, and I was very excited about being a part of the progress and a part of the growth for Wilton Manors, and to continue helping Justin do what he was doing so well for our city.
Sure.
And that evening when we all heard that he passed away, I was in disbelief. I was in shock.
It was a shock, a complete shock.
Yeah, and it washed over me in a way that I didn't realize. Justin and I were friends, and I remembered being in the chamber on one of my first commissioner meetings, just as a new business here in Wilton Manors, and remember looking up at the chamber and saying, that guy is unlike everyone else. Yeah. And I'm going to get to know him. And we did get to know each other. And he's the kind of energy that Wilton Manors needs in order to move forward. And so I sat back and I watched, and it was that weekend I was supposed to announce my commissioner run. But of course, with his passing, I paused that announcement because it just was not the right time or the place to announce or be celebratory. In that moment, I had maybe a little extra time to think about what it was that I was contributing to the town. I also stood back in respect to see who else was going to step up and step into his shoes, or create their shoes, but step into that leadership role, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of time went by. 3 weeks went by, and I still hadn't seen a very clear idea of who that person would be.
Sure.
Unfortunately, after 3 weeks, I received a COVID positive test.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, and then that put a pause in my announcement, because I had to then really put my energy into looking inward and put it into myself and really reconsider if I was going to run at all.
But why would your COVID diagnosis affect your decision to run? Just like logistics and health, or was there a different reason than that?
Logistics and health.
Okay.
Simultaneously, my friend who I think I contracted the virus from was sitting in ICU on a ventilator, and we were living this parallel life. My symptoms were very medium to mild, but my brain wasn't functioning fully. I was out of it, to say the very least. So I couldn't think about my business. Even my business had to pause. We were going to open up we were going to do takeout during the crisis, but I couldn't even do that. There was no energy to do it.
Sure.
But that really stopped me. It forced me to pause, right? And in that pause, I was able to reconnect to why I was choosing to run for commissioner in the first place. And it had me reconnect to just my values and my principles. It allowed me to reconnect to what's very important to me. And I was able to recharge my buttons, my engines. I was able to rest and just, again, reconnect to the why, right? So as I sat there, as I got closer to healing, this was 36 days after the fact, after the COVID positive test result.
Okay.
I said, okay, this Friday, I'm going to announce. And at this point, I had decided that now I think I'm running for mayor. And I had realized that there was a calling. I had already said I was, the intention was already there to run for commissioner. I did my research. I said, okay, so what's the distinction between commissioner and the mayor? And I get it. It's the top spot, right? But what I realized is this: the mayor, in the sort of government that we have here in Wilton Manors, which is a city manager, commissioner run government, okay? The mayor is actually an extension of the commission. So we have a vote like a commissioner. Not only that, but the mayor's primary duty is to be the advocate for the town, for the city. And I said, advocate cheerleader, that's my calling. Of course I could be that person for Wilton Manors. And then I started to think about what my role would be as a mayor, as opposed to the distinction between a commissioner.
Sure.
I know who I am. You know who I am. It goes beyond the kitchen. I'm not only a chef personality from television. I've been a lifetime community activist and organizer. I am a community facilitator for conversations, creating results. I am a mentor to young people in foster care who are aging out of foster care. I have been a coach, and I continue to inspire leaders, and not only inspire them, but motivate them to look outward, and without any, I always say this, we don't need to do anything. Right? We don't need to do anything. We do it because we choose to do it, right?
Sure.
So out of a place of choice, raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for different community projects throughout South Florida. Everyone who knows me knows that I volunteer my time and my services and my talents to every single organization in South Florida that is helping children and helping our environment and helping community. So I thought to myself, and of course, I just, I thought about my political experience,
So did you say there was some specific organizations that you were working with or that you were assisting in?
Yeah, sure. So No Kids Hungry, maybe you're familiar with them. They raise money for children all around the world and ensure that we're feeding kids worldwide, and raising the awareness of the children who are going hungry in our country. Just for instance, during this COVID crisis, 1 in 5 children going to bed hungry each night. I work with Junior Achievers. It's a organization that helps nurture and foster young leaders through literacy. I work with Handy. This is a foster organization, an organization that works with at-risk youth and foster children aging out of the foster care system. They actually just made their new home here in Wilton Manors, so yay. Boys and Girls Club. I mean, we could keep on going.
Sure. No, I mean, these are good examples because I know there might be some people out there who they don't know your history, they don't know your experience, and they might say, look, this is just another reality TV personality who's trying to make their way into politics. So I'm really glad that you addressed it. Taking it a step back, you talked about how essentially you came to this decision while you were dealing with this COVID situation. What's the current status with that? Because from what I read, that was correct. You actually got diagnosed for a second time. Is that right?
Yes, and it was the same diagnosis. So
how are you feeling now? What's your current status with this now?
I'm negative COVID-19, and I'm positive antibodies. We've reopened Bubbles and Pearls. I'm back out, and I'm strong like a bull.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Good. Well, there's obviously a lot going on, both internationally and nationally, especially when we're talking about things like racism, social justice, and those topics. So what would you bring to the table in Wilton Manors to help combat these issues that are plaguing the Black and minority communities, even if only on a local level?
Listen, this is where it begins. It begins on the local level. We're seeing folks on the streets right now. We see our cities burning at the moment, but we see people in the streets because we've come to that crossroads in our history and our society where enough is enough.
Absolutely.
In this city, Wilton Manors, the city that I love so much, I am aware of the 13% to 17% that are people of color. That's a lot of room for us to diversify. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing that speaks into our commitment to diversify our city by electing a Puerto Rican, Italian, Filipino, lesbian to be the next mayor of our city.
All right. My
experience of this town has been, even though I am a minority, I feel like a majority. Sure. I know that we have a challenge in this city, and I, as a mayor, would bring that. I would illuminate that space. We would celebrate diversity in this town. We would bring out of the darkness all of the beautiful depths and colors of our rainbow. And
do you have any specific ways, any initiatives or anything on how you would accomplish that?
Oh, absolutely. Well, like I said, the first step is the commitment from the community to vote a Puerto Rican, Italian, Filipino, lesbian into the mayoral office. Sure. That is the first indicator that everyone is ready to move in that direction. Mm-hmm. The second way to do that, we have some great organizations here within Wilton Manors, SunServe, who serves, a huge part of our community. That entire building is an amazing resource in case anyone interested in learning more about the diversity and the intersectionality of our community in this moment. That's a great place to start.
Yeah, actually, Hotspots, we did an interview with some of the staff at SunServe because they were continuing to provide services to the community even throughout this COVID-19 situation. So I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. And not only that, like I said, I'm a community organizer. So we will be holding these types of very sensitive conversations, very important conversations on a regular basis, and utilize Hagen Park, utilize one of our many different parks here in Wilton Manors. And again, this is how I bridge the community. This is an interactive and collaborative effort that we will be utilizing our different businesses on the drive partnership. It's not a problem to go to any of our businesses on the drive and say, hunters, would you guys like to host this conversation? Right. Mm-hmm. And we would host a conversation there. Being able to go to any of the yoga studios, the different locations in the yard. It's not only highlighting our neighborhood, but it's also bringing that conversation to the 3 different neighborhoods, and it's engaging our community like we've never been able to do that before in the past.
Sure, trying to bridge the gap.
Correct.
I get that. Well, so I've been talking to a couple people recently who have been running for commissioner, running for mayor, and what I'm saying to everybody is that even though we are in a very big place, a very tumultuous, sensitive place, to me, a silver lining that's happening right now is that it is getting everybody politically charged and politically energized, and I'm seeing a really great uptick on the younger people getting involved in politics, and also people who maybe have never gotten interested in politics before are now interested. So for all of our viewers who maybe only know you from your restaurant or maybe from Top Chef, and they're interested in finding out more, what would you like to make sure our viewers know about you or anything else you'd like to add today?
Listen, this is one of the most important elections of our lifetime. November is going to set the tone for the next 10 years. This is an opportunity for all of us to make a stand for what it is, what kind of world we want to create. And it's an opportunity for us to set ourselves on a path of recharging, rehealing, recreation, and rebuilding. For all the viewers tonight who are watching, guys, my stepping into this ring is me stepping into uncomfort. The next 10 years is going to be uncomfortable for us. And as the mayor, I will always and be committed to being honest with you and being accountable with you, and also being accessible to you. Okay, the only way out of this very dark space is through, and the only way through is together. So tell your friends, make sure you guys are registered to vote, know where you're voting. If you have any questions, you can always visit me at my website. You can send me a message on Facebook. You can hit me up on Instagram. It's time for us, the people of the next generation, to make the decisions moving forward, who you elect in your offices and who are going to represent you for the next decade. And that decade is going to decide what the rest of your life looks like.
Well said, Chef Josie. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for talking with us today. And good luck on your run for mayor.
Thank you, Manny. Thanks for having me, okay? See you later. Love that smile.
Thanks.